I'm going to speak with you. This would be the third message for our series, the spiritual inventory. I hope last Sunday you have a personal inventory in your heart. And I hope that the message that you received last Sunday will continue to guide your heart. Today I'm going to speak with you about the inventory of our soul. Now, when you think about soul, in Tagalog, we call this what? Kaluluwa. In Bisaya and Ilonggo, we call this kalag. And that's why we have this kalag during in Ilonggo, Tingkalalag. In Cebuana, we call this kalag on November 1. And it's an All Souls Day. In Ilocano, Kawarwa. And then in Kapampangan, Kaladua. Now, when sometimes our parents, they have wrong understanding. Sorry to say this, but our parents have wrong understanding. In Cebuano, we call this, oh my kalagyan. Oh my, there is a kaluluwa. It's kind of, we're afraid that there is a ghost over there. But later on, we'll find out the soul is not something. It is actually a physical activity of our soul. So when you think about soul, heart is inside, but soul is actually the physical activity that is outside of us. I'm going to define this and look at this in Hebrew and Greek so that we'll be able to understand, because lots of people have a wrong concept of what is soul. Now, I want you to look at your Bible with me. In Mark chapter 12, verse 30. So for this series, we're going to have, there are 4 all there. I'm going to expound that, and Pastor Mike next Sunday, he will be speaking to us, love the Lord your God with all your strength. Now I'm going to speak to you, love the Lord your God with all your soul. Now the word with, as I mentioned to you last Sunday, with is what? A preposition of source, when it's used to express where is the source coming from. When you say, love the Lord with, it means the word there with is, he referred to where is the source coming from. And then, he said that love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all, the word there all, is in Greek word holos, which means constituting the full quantity. So now, last Sunday I mentioned to you, love the Lord your God with all, the source with where is the heart, and all is the quantity. I mentioned to you that you could not love the Lord just 90% or installment basis. It must be what? All 100%. Now, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Now, the word here, soul, the Hebrew word nepes, and the Greek word equivalent is psyche, where this usually we get psychology. Psyche, it means physical. So when you think about the word soul, is a very basic definition of life. You know what's 5 senses? Able to see, able to touch, able to hear, able to taste. What's the last one? Able to smell, able to smell. Remove this, how do you call yourself? Dead. So now it's just, if you look at this, so the word soul is actually what? It is a physical activity of what is inside. It becomes in the outside. Now let's dig this a little bit deeper. If you look at your Bible in Genesis chapter 2 verse 7, it says there, "And the Lord what God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man what? Became a living soul." soul. Now, the word soul, as I mentioned to you, nepis in Greek word, it means actually that dust that he formed, what? It becomes conscious. What? It starts breathing. It became what? A living soul. So now, if you look at the word here, soul, it speaks the outside of the person that he started breathing, that he's become conscious, and he started living, a living being. So now when you hear the word soul, the usage of the word soul, it refers to, I want you to have this. It refers to life in the physical body. And that's why your five senses is involved. Now when Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your soul, as I mentioned to you, the word here with, it refers to the source, and the source is from our soul. When I say from a source from our soul, it is actually within us, but it resulted to outside of us, that it becomes the physical activity of us. And all is constituting what? The full quantity. I could not just give half of it, or installment basis, but it must be all. Now, again, soul, if you could memorize this, soul refers to life in the physical body. Now when Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your soul, now he was saying that we should make him what? As alive in our physical, or I would say in our physical activity. We need to make Jesus Christ as what? Alive in our physical activity. What do we do every day in this life? It must be obvious that we love him with all our soul. Soul refers to what again? Life in the physical body or activities. So now if you're staying, ano sa Tagalog, parang wala kang buhay, parang wala kang kaluluwa, nakaupo ka lang dyan. What does it mean? You done nothing. You're just like dead. When we say soul, it refers to physical activities. Now, my proposition to you this afternoon is, having a life in a physical body, we must sustain what? Our desire, our motivation, our affection, so our soul will flourish. Now, here is the question. How can we flourish our soul? It depends on how we live in our physical body, through our desire, through our motivation, and through our affection. First, what do we feed into our desire? What is desire? What is desire? Your desire is, or our desire is what we long for, or whom you long to be with. Our desire is what is our greatest treasure, and it will be your reward. When you wake up in the morning, what have you fed? Your desire. When you wake up in the morning, are you going to open your Bible and start reading it because you have the desire? What you have fed in early in the morning, as you would wake up, are you start thinking with all those things, with all the problems that you have that you could not even solve? Or are you going to wake up early in the morning? You're going to sit down with the Lord and have the Word of God. And allow the Word of God to influence your desire. Now if you look at your life today, What do you desire? As you look at what's the situation of our economy today, maybe you will say, I hope that I have lots of money. Now I hope that I have this, and I have this, and I have this. What do we desire? If you look at your future, what do you desire? Maybe for us, we're almost retiring. I would quote unquote, almost retiring. Maybe you will say, before I will retire, I desire that I could be able to pay all my mortgage. That before I will retire, I have enough money in the bank that I could use when I retire. For our youth here, as you look at in the future, maybe you'll be saying that somehow I have a family that worshiping the Lord. I hope I could have a husband. I hope I could have a wife who loves the Lord. What is your desire as you look at in the future? I don't know. What is your desire today? Let me give you this joke. The old teacher in the school, and when she looked at one of her students, he said, how come you did not brush your teeth today? And then the student says, how did you know that I did not brush my teeth today? And he said, I could see what's your breakfast today. And the student, what's my breakfast, ma'am, this morning? I see an egg in your teeth. The student says, no, that was yesterday. So it means, my friend, we do need to brush our teeth. As you would love the Lord with all your soul, it starts in our desire. I hope every day we have the desire saying, Lord, I love you with all my soul. Now, when Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your soul, Jesus is saying, He must be what? The object of all our desires. Now, if I'm going to ask you now, what is your desires? Maybe for the little say, oh, how I pray, I have a desire to be with her or to be with him. I desire to have this beautiful house and beautiful vehicle. If we love Jesus with all our desire, I tell you, my friend, we long for His presence in our physical body. Let me ask you this question to you. What are the physical activities in our daily life that we are saying, Lord, I desire more of you. Lord, I'm longing with your holy presence to be with me. What is our physical activity? Again, let me ask you. What is our physical activity that we desire for His presence? I hope we need to look at. Second, what do we feel? What do we feed into our motivation? What is our motivation? Motivation is defined as that which move one toward an action. Now let me give you an example so you will be able to understand clearly. Now, for example, what motivates you to get water? Because you are thirsty, that makes you to act upon. When there is a motive, there is something that motivates you, it helps you to move. It helps you to act upon. You're going to just stay where you are because there is something that is pushing you, and that is our motivation. When we show goodness or kindness to our fellow believers, when we show goodness and kindness to our non-believing friends, when we show kindness and goodness to our spouse and family members, what motivates us? What motivates us? That pulls us to help somebody, that pulls us to act upon, because there is something that motivates you, and that is your love to the Lord, that moves you, that pushes you, so that you will be able to say, this is what I feel inside of me, and that's why I act upon. Sometimes we have the motivation, but we just ignore it. That's why people out there, do you really not see that we are Christian? Because we just keep it inside of us. It must be acted upon. In our motives to love the Lord, it helps us to do something outside of us. We are not a Christian by theory. We are Christian in our practice. When Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your soul, Jesus is saying, every time you act upon, make me what? As your motive. Sometimes we act upon, but our motive is not Jesus Christ. I know what's your motive. Again, let me ask this question. What are the physical activities that we will be able to say that what motivates me is my love to the Lord? This is a joke. There is a husband. He entered to the house. He entered into the house, and then he was so exhausted. And the wife was saying, "What happened to you? Why are you so exhausted?" The husband said, "I'm trying to save money. That's why I ran behind the bus so I could save at least $5. You know what the wife says? You know, as usual, wife will always. And you know, the wife said, "That's a wrong idea. If you want to save more money, I want you to run behind a taxi." So you could save more dollars, not just $5. My friend, when we love, our motive is not to save something. When we love, our motive is to show the love of Jesus Christ. Now it doesn't matter if the person will respond. That's not your responsibility. Our responsibility is to act upon of our love that people would see. And that's why lots of Christians, I hope that evangelical churches would be able to define what is soul, because soul is the activity of what is inside us. Last one, what do we feed into our affection? What is our affection? Affection is our what? Positive feelings toward another. Now often expressed in terms of attachment. And this is not only applied to a person, but affection is also applied to things of this world that we become what? Soulmates. Meaning, we have that affection toward our spouse, toward our family. But there is also another one, that our affection is so much with this one. We have so much affection with our beautiful house. We have so much affection with our new vehicle, because it's new, but later on it will come old. We have that affection with our money. We're even willing to sacrifice not to come on Sunday because there is so much affection on this one. And we have so much affection with our gadgets. iPhone 10, wow, that's so expensive. Our affection to God should be greater than all these personalities and things of this world. If you remember in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 9, it says, "For I," what? "The Lord your God," what? "am a just God." Here it is, God, He wants 100% of our affection because He wants us to be attached with Him. He wants us to spend time with Him, not just 90% or 20%. He wants us 100% so that we will be so attached with Him. He's saying, "I want you 100%. Because I want to attach myself with Him." But don't think we don't want to. C.S. Lewis, he said, affection is responsible for how many percent? 90% of whatever solid, enjoyable happiness there is in our lives. Imagine, 90% of our affection have something to do with our happiness. And think about this. If we have 100% affection in Jesus Christ, my friend, we could be able to find joy, not just happiness, but eternal joy that is in Him. But if we don't have the affection, we just come to the church from Sunday to Sunday, but there is no love that is involved, there is no desire that is involved, there is no motivation when we come to church. And I tell you, my friend, one of this day you will be gone in this church. We must have that affection. There must be a desire in our heart. I want to be with Him. Our desire, I want you to listen to this. Our desire, our motivation, our affection, what? It becomes the expression of our personal what? Disposition in life. If I want to know your soul, I want to know your physical activities. If you want to have an inventory of our soul today, the first thing that we need to do, when you wake up early in the morning, as you open your eyes, on the moment that you close your eyes, can you look at what are the activities that you have been doing? From the moment, I don't know what time you will wake up, on the moment you will wake up, if you could write down all your activities, and I tell you, my friend, you will be able to know what is in our soul. Your activities will tell you that if you love the Lord with all your soul. Let me illustrate this. Let me conclude with this illustration. This is a piggy bank. Of course, you know exactly that there are some coins inside of this piggy bank. You only know. You did not see it. You did not touch it. It is intangible to you. You could not see it. I don't know what money it is. Now, it was intangible. You could not see it, you could not touch it. Now it becomes tangible. You can see it, and even you can touch it. In each person, we know that we have a soul. That's why we're living. We have soul that is within us. But how we will know what kind of soul that we have is when you do something outside. It will declare your motives, your desire, your affection. It will show outside of you. And you'll be able to see what kind of soul that we have. Look at from Monday to Sunday. As you open your eyes and you close your eyes in the evening, look at what kind of physical activities that you have. Is this declaring that you love the Lord with all your heart? I hope as you would come out in this building, you're saying, God, would you help me? But not just being a Christian is not just inside us. Being a Christian is really the love that we have inside of us. It will show outside of us, and that is my soul. I hope you would say, I love the Lord with all my soul, because my motive, my desire, and my affection belongs to Him. Let us pray. Father in heaven, thank you so much for speaking to us. Father, help us, because many times we think that Christianity is just a theory. We hear your word from Sunday to Sunday, and we just keep it in our heart. We emphasize so much what is in our heart, but there's no emphasis of our soul, of what the activities that is outside of us, that people from our workplace, from our co-workers, from our neighbors, from our relatives, from our family, that you will be able to see the love of Jesus Christ, not just inside, but outside of us. Father, will you help us that we will love you 100% of our soul. I pray, Lord, that in our activities, your name will be lifted up. Father, we love you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above, ye heavenly hosts. Praise Father, Son, and Holy